In a recent development, tensions in the conflict zone have intensified as Ukrainian defense forces make significant strides toward the complete dismantling of the enemy. The enemy's military, already grappling with internal turmoil, faced a daring move today as invaders attempted to counter their challenging situation. A substantial warehouse near St. Petersburg went up in flames, with Russian workers setting fire to the entire facility. This bold action followed a police raid on the Wildberries warehouse by Russian authorities, seeking recruits for the war in Ukraine. Russian media reports that the incident is currently under investigation by the prosecutor's office. As per APA's Russian bureau, information on casualties or injuries resulting from the fire is not available at present. The massive fire, engulfing 50,000 square meters, required the efforts of hundreds of firefighters to bring it under control. Ukrainian commentator Igor Sushko suggests that the fire was ignited by disgruntled employees protesting against conscription initiatives. Sushko's commentary highlights concerns over Russia's recruitment methods for the invasion of Ukraine, referring to it as Putin's Oman Gestapo. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's visit to Kyiv marked a pivotal moment, with the announcement of additional funding. Sunak became the first foreign leader to visit Ukraine this year. The UK's crucial £2.5 billion military aid package aims to support President Zelensky amid worries about diminishing interest from allies as the conflict persists. The leaders also inked a new security agreement, wherein the UK pledges to provide swift and sustained assistance. Rishi Sunak's commitment to supporting Ukraine's fight against Russia took center stage as President Zelensky lauded Sunak's personal leadership during a press conference. The bilateral agreement signed is deemed foundational for future collaborations with other partners. Sunak, addressing skeptics worldwide, emphasized that despite doubts, Ukraine's army is actively conducting significant operations. In a recent development, Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine successfully detected and neutralized a group of Russian soldiers engaged in reconnaissance near Aviva in the Donetsk region. Reports indicate ongoing attempts by Russian invaders to advance in the direction of Aviva. The operators of the 5th Separate Special Forces Brigade revealed that Russians organize nightly attacks along a consistent route. Utilizing a reconnaissance drone with thermal imaging, operators identified a group of 5 enemy soldiers during nocturnal surveillance. In response, the soldiers opened mortar fire, resulting in 3 Russian soldiers killed and 2 wounded. As of the beginning of this week, Ukrainian defense forces have eliminated approximately 370 Russian invaders. Simultaneously, Kremlin forces have scaled back their ground offensive across 1,500 kilometers of Ukraine. The situation remains fluid, and the conflict zone continues to witness dynamic operations and counter-operations. Amidst severe cold and hard frosts, Kremlin forces have downscaled their ground offensive along 1,500 kilometers of Ukraine, resulting in clashes on the battle lines. Reports from various sources suggest an increased number of Russian troops surrendering due to harsh weather conditions and a shortage of supplies on the front line. The Ukrainian Army's General Staff provided insights, revealing that only 2 subsectors, around the towns of Aviva and Minka in the Donbass region, witnessed multiple Russian ground offensives in the past 24 hours. The engagements in these sectors persisted for hours, with the Kremlin's power posture elsewhere remaining predominantly static. Combat reports indicate that Russian ground attacks are limited in scale and directed at specific targets. The AFU-46 Separate Aircraft Brigade reported Russian armored units attempting short-range advances in the Minka area. Armored personnel carriers moved within a few hundred meters of Ukrainian fortifications, evacuating infantry in an attempt to dig in. The enemy shelled throughout the night, and after an airstrike, several assault groups endeavored to advance near POA but failed at this juncture. The ongoing developments underscore the challenging conditions faced by both sides as they navigate the complexities of the conflict in Ukraine. Recent events have witnessed Russian troops retreating from the trenches south of Novomaica, repositioning themselves in Herva, and engaging in troop rotations while concentrating their forces. According to Rogov, the Armed Forces of Ukraine, AFU, have primarily organized small-scale infantry attacks and raids, swiftly withdrawing upon facing artillery fire. Diva Mayer, a prominent pro-Moscow military blogger, revealed that local Russian commanders opted for frontal assaults on snow-covered open areas along a single, easily visible forest road. Ukrainian artillery and attack drones successfully disabled over 10 Russian tanks and armored personnel carriers, resulting in numerous casualties among Russian soldiers. This intense battle unfolded in early January, and its aftermath effectively halted offensive operations in the vicinity of the town of Lyman on Russia's eastern front. The harsh frontline temperatures, reaching 18 degrees Celsius, grounded most small drones operated by both sides, leaving frontline observation positions manned for extended periods. While ground attacks have been restricted due to deep snow and soldiers seeking cover, artillery and mortar exchanges have persisted between the conflicting forces. Recent analysis by Iceland-based military analyst Ragnar Gudmansson reveals a significant decline in ground attacks on the warfront, with particularly bloody Russian offensives coming to an almost complete halt. Gudmansson's report, covering developments since December 23, highlights a remarkable 152% reduction in Russia's total daily losses and a 15.43% decrease in average weekly losses of key Russian weapons, including tanks, artillery, and armored fighting vehicles. Of notable significance is the drastic reduction in Russian drone losses, a vital combat support system for both conflicting parties in the Russia-Ukraine war. Many drones have been repurposed into hobby aircraft susceptible to winter conditions, equipped with low-powered motors and unable to recharge due to cold-related limitations on their electric batteries. Open-source reports indicate a more than 70% decline in the loss of all types of Russian drones on the front line over the last 2 weeks, marking a noteworthy shift in the conflict dynamics. In a recent report, military analyst Ragnar Gudmansson highlighted Ukrainian military claims suggesting that harsh winter conditions on the battle line have led to an increased rate of Russian soldiers surrendering to Kiev troops. While evidence was not provided, a senior spokesperson for the Armed Forces of Ukraine, AFU, asserted that over 100 Russian soldiers stationed in the Kremlin-favored Aviva region surrendered in the past 30 days due to the cold weather and low morale. Colonel Alexander Stupin of the AFU expressed anticipation of more surrenders, attributing the trend to the challenging conditions Russian soldiers face with their equipment. Stupin also mentioned an AFU unit in the southern sector taking 40 Russian prisoners of war who surrendered instead of defending against Ukrainian infantry attacks. AFU artillery gunners fired shells filled with surrender leaflets, urging Russian troops to abandon their positions. The evolving dynamics suggest a weakening Russian army, raising questions about the sustainability of their campaign. Stay tuned for further updates as we monitor the situation on the ground. Thank you for joining us.